The Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network on 95.1 FM and AM 760 presents Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei and Paul.
Good morning, beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Kuʻulei and Paul alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, HawaiiSportsRadio.com, and we are good to go, everybody, streaming live on our YouTube channel. Woo!
Come on. We didn't even practice that. That was like pretty harmonious.
That's how excited.
Good work.
That's how excited we both are because we missed you guys on our YouTube yesterday.
Oh, yesterday was so frustrating.
It was just a weird and wonky start to the morning because everything seemed like it was fine and then it didn't work. And we saw you guys waiting in the YouTube chat and like our viewers and everything. We appreciate you, but we are live this morning on YouTube, kind of like a makeup stream / we will get to a bunch of other stuff today. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in, whether it be on the regular radio or on YouTube or on demand. Thank you for joining us. So you can chime in on the YouTube chat or you can text us at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481. We got a lot of stuff to get to today this morning. Hey, shout out to you, Colin, and we see you over there. And you were one of the first ones in the live chat super early yesterday, and we couldn't make it work on our live chat. And we will get the yesterday's video up. I know we said we would, but I completely forgot on how long it takes to download, then upload a video that's like an hour and a half long onto YouTube. So it's like between my time I had here in the office before I had to head to Waipahu last night for the girls volleyball game, and I was trying to do it at the gym, and then it takes a long time in case nobody knew to do that for YouTube. So
it is uploading. I did
Yeah.
see that as I got in here this
I
morning.
had to detach it, so it's an error. So I got to start all over again.
Oh, good.
So.
Well, that was like, I don't know, like 40 seconds before we got on air. So
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's at 4%, unless you took it off.
Oh, no,
again.
I took it off when it was like 4%. So I just didn't get a chance to delete it. No.
Even worse. Oh,
Nothing's
gosh.
uploading officially, but it's okay. It'll be uploaded later, and we are streaming live today, and it's an exciting day before we get to some NFL that I know Paul has been looking very much forward to talking about. It is the MLB Playoffs! Woo! And it's the day before October, so we're almost there with October baseball.
I had a couple of different choices today with the shirt that I was going to go with. I figured this was the best that combined baseball and yesterday's Jets results. So,
I like it. For those of you who are not watching, it says Paul's shirt says a double header, and there are 2 beers and a baseball that says life is good.
It's a good shirt.
Yes, he is wearing that. I fit check today. Of course, the Cubbies are in action for this NL wild card where they take on the San Diego Padres coming up in about an hour. So sorry, not sorry if I get a little distracted in hour number 2. Right now we have the Tigers and Guardians game on. The Tigers have a 1-0 lead over the Guardians in the bottom of the 4th. So best of 3 series for these wild card games. And if there was any, and we'll talk more about the MLB playoffs coming up in a little bit, but if there was any time where we are fortunate to have an expanded playoff, it would be this year because we talk about it in the NFL, so much parity. In the MLB, like there's a lot of parity. There's like no team that won 100 games, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. It's one of those things. So, as typical, of course, the Dodgers are like the favorite, and of course, but anything happens in October.
I'm excited to talk baseball today with you.
We'll get into it. Before we let Paul crash out a little bit about the New York Jets, and one of the games yesterday, obviously the Dolphins beat the Jets, but Tyreek Hill, I'm pretty sure he's done for the season. A dislocated knee, one of those very serious injuries where they have to stabilize it real quick because it can damage the nerves and everything, and things that we saw, like say with Alex Smith, of course, and Mackenzie Milton, those kinds of situations that Tyreek Hill had. So seemed to be in good spirits. Just to put a little, leave it to NFL memes to put a little laugh into that, because Tyreek, when he was on the cart leaving the stadium, he's like smiling, clapping, waving at everybody. And then NFL memes is like, oh, of course, if there's any player that, or if there's any team that a player would be happy to be injured because they're done for the season, it would be the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, well, the Jets are probably falling in that category soon.
I
but
mean, Darren Waller looked pretty good yesterday, or was that something that the Jets made him look good?
So
Go ahead, Paul, take it away.
That's the thing is I won't give Waller all that much credit because the Jets couldn't stop you, me, and Michael if we lined up out there right now defensively. Breece Hall actually I thought put it better than anybody has put it in the last decade. Some teams shoot themselves in the foot. The Jets shoot themselves in the head. That's it. That's what the mistakes are. Where we sit here and remember after week 1, the big crash out was, they have to cut the punt returner because he fumbled on the kickoff return and, blah, 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 blah. The Jets in this game. This is going to sound like a salty Jets fan.
Well, you are.
The Dolphins didn't win this football game. The Jets legitimately lost this football game. And the reason I say that is because the Jets at the start of this game actually did pretty well. I mean, they hold Miami to a field goal on the opening drive after looked like Miami was just going to march down the field and score. Then on offense, the Jets just run the ball down the throat of the Dolphins. I mean, it looks like there was no type of apprehension from the defense. And then on the run to punch it in, the ball gets punched out. And it's the most Jets thing in the world where you knew you're waiting for something to happen. And part of the reason I like running the football so much is because I worry much less about turning the ball over typically.
Yeah.
Because I've watched a lot of Jets quarterbacks throw a lot of interceptions. So when they go to the air, I always hold my breath. It doesn't matter. I did it with Aaron Rodgers. I did it with Mark Sanchez. It doesn't matter what end of the spectrum you're on. I will hold my breath if you play for the New York Jets and throw a pass. It's not the case with running the ball, except for now, where I'm like, great, you ran the football, but you turn it over at the very last second. Or on special teams, can we stop turning the ball over on special teams? And this is something we're going to get a chance to chat with Coach Sheffield sometime in the near future now that we've reached the bye week.
Woo!
And I was hoping to ask him or talk to him kind of about the thought process behind Tama Uliata basically fair catches it every single time. They take the touchback on kickoffs practically every single time. And, some teams, they try and do too much out of special teams. Some teams don't do enough. So I'm curious what led to that decision for UH because, I mean, for the most part, it works out pretty well. They don't give away possessions at the very least. They don't start from, inside their own 10-yard line. Overall, it seems that they make the correct decision. Might not be the flashy decision, but they make the correct decision. The Jets can't even make a decision. They just get the ball punched out. Nobody can hold on to the football. So they either need to just take the touchback or I don't know. It's driving me crazy.
Yeah, in case anybody missed it. And Matt Humans, our friend on VSiN, because I was in the studio while the game was going on watching the game, but I still have to monitor the station, so I had our VSiN friends on. And in case you guys did miss it, the Jets' first offensive drive, like Paul said, they get all the way down the field.
I mean,
and the ball gets punched out literally at the 1-yard line, about to get into the end zone and punched out, and then they turn it over. The Dolphins get it, and then Matt Humans even said, well, that's the most Jetsian thing that could ever happen.
And here's the thing as well. One thing that both fan bases knew coming into this game, these were two of the only teams in the NFL that had yet to force a turnover, right? Where they've turned the ball. I mean, Tua turned the ball over, and the Jets are all they do is turn the ball over. It feels like so. They've turned it over. They just haven't turned other teams over. So coming in, you kind of thought like, all right, whoever wins the turnover battle wins this game. Well, Dolphins won the turnover battle 3-0. I mean, you can't give away. It goes back to what our conversation was against Air Force, and what Hawaiʻi did so well is they won the possession battle, both in terms of time of possession, both in terms of forcing turnovers on downs, interceptions, whatever it may be. The Jets did the exact opposite. And now, I always say, if one of my green teams win, I can come in and I can have a good week the next week. So one of my green teams won.
Yes.
So we can have a good week still. But nonetheless, it was a really frustrating game because it was another game where the Jets had an opportunity to win and they commit too many mistakes to do so. You cannot shoot yourself in the foot or, like Breece Hall said, in the head consistently and expect to win football games at the professional level. Are the Dolphins a good team? No. The Dolphins are still bad. I stand on that, especially now with Tyreek out. Like, it's like, I mean, I guess maybe Darren Waller is just the second coming of Rob Gronkowski or something along those lines. But
that's the crazy thing, right? Like, the guy took a break and good. Like, I'm glad
20 months off,
I'm glad he's like healthy, and it seems like his mental health is back in order and all of that stuff. But the guy was off, and then he still lit up the Jets. That's the part that I couldn't wrap my head around. I was like, this is professional football, and we say it all the time. These are the best players in the world. And for you to, and granted, he is just an athletic specimen, but it's like, just to get back in there and be able to score a couple of touchdowns. And Tua Tagovailoa, of course, to his credit, he played pretty decent as well.
Oh,
but
yeah.
It's like,
that was one of the best games Tua's played this season, if not the best.
I think it's the uniforms. Those uniforms were.
So I know some fans or some people were like very like, oh, these are ugly. I thought they were awesome. Like,
they
and
were beautiful.
I am a notorious Dolphins hater. Like, Squish the Fish, all that. Those were like awesome uniforms, you know? I don't know. Overall, frustrating game. It's been a frustrating first month of the season. There's a lot of football left to be played. I still don't, like, as much as it is doom and gloom, I still don't believe the Jets are the worst team in the league. They probably are picking top 5. Top 10 is probably your like,
how about
ceiling.
Worst team in the division, or you think the Patriots and the Jets are going to be competitive? Or
I'll say this.
Or like you said, you still don't believe the Dolphins aren't that good.
Suck. I think the Dolphins will lose when they go to New York. The Jets are notoriously bad, by the way, when they go to Miami. We haven't won in Miami or played well in Miami since I was like, I don't know, a fetus or something like that, it feels like. So the Jets don't ever play well down there. So I always expect something to go wrong. That being said, they normally get their lick back when they play in New York. So I'm not necessarily giving up on that. But here's the thing. I mean, the Jets got to win football games. They haven't shown the ability to win a football game yet. And that's the most frustrating thing as a fan, where it's like, you've put yourself in multiple different opportunities to try and win these games, whether it's you go up late and you give up a walk-off field goal, you come back in the fourth quarter, you give up a walk-off field goal, you get absolutely blown out. Or then there's this one in this game where your offense can't do anything against the terrible defense, or at least it turns the ball over too much. You have a fair catch on the 2-yard line. That was the most. I about punched my television screen at that. It's been a frustrating first month as a Jets fan. I still believe in Aaron Glenn to get things figured out. I don't think this is all that good of a football team. I think the players aren't very good.
I mean, talk about not that good of a football team. The sad, again, Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. I told you guys. How many times I tell you, like,
could be a Bengals
and it's weird
fan
because
right
it's almost like I say it in jest, but at the same time, they keep proving me right that apparently Joe Burrow plays on defense too, because to not be able to really contain Bo Nix and the Broncos, but at the same time, not even score more than a field goal yesterday against the Broncos. The Broncos do have a very good defense, don't get me wrong, but like 28-3, the Bengals just completely fall apart. And like when Joe Burrow is out, it's like, no, we just don't want to play football. We're already done. We're mentally done with the season. And yeah, and Zach Taylor just forgets how to coach.
He's getting fired, right?
Oh, he's totally getting fired. Because if you can't even be competitive without your starting quarterback, because we see starting quarterbacks go down all the time, and you still can be remain competitive, but every single time Joe Burrow goes down, one, it's a testament to how great of a quarterback Joe Burrow is when he's healthy.
Yes, agree.
But you can't have that much of a drop off in the NFL against they're not playing, I don't know, the Bills or the Chiefs. This is unacceptable if you're Cincinnati. So yeah, it's clear as day that the success of the Cincinnati Bengals is because of Joe Burrow. And what's the point of you being there as a coach if you can't even get your team to be competitive without a top 5 quarterback? Again, understandable. When no one's saying they're going to be,
but it feels like they underachieve when Joe Burrow is healthy.
Yeah,
that's the issue that I have with Zach Taylor.
But it's a huge drop off. You can't have that significant of a drop off whenever he's injured. That's the crazy thing, and it sucks because I've said this before. It feels like it's almost like we're in the same trajectory as like an Andrew Luck when it comes
At
to
this
Joe
point, it
Burrow,
feels
because
so.
you know that this guy is like such an incredible quarterback, but just consistently injured time. Like every single season he's missing time because he's injured, and you don't know if it's going to come to a point where it's like, is it even worth it anymore to continue playing? I hope that doesn't happen because he's one of my favorite quarterbacks. I always joke that like my
I want to
other
see him
team
play
I root
into his
for,
40s.
my other team I root for is the Cincinnati Bengals. And I mean, you saw frustration with Jamar Chase with Zach Taylor on the sideline. That was going viral. So, and we've seen frustration, say, with like Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, but the difference is the team wins.
Football is a really passionate game.
But the team wins.
Like
if you're Kansas City. So
emotions are gonna flare, but
if you're Cincinnati and you're just gonna continue to lose like that, it's just.
I mean, things get exacerbated when you lose. It's the fact of the matter. It's the fact of life. Look in every single sport. When things are going well, guys are it's a lot easier to go through slumps when you're winning. When you're losing and those slumps are happening, that's when it's like, hey, you're at each other's necks. I don't know. I feel bad for Bengals fans because the injury bug, it's not the fans' fault. The fans are sitting here and they have a reason to believe in them every single year because they have Joe Burrow, because they have T. Higgins, because they have Jamar Chase, because they have all these different players. I mean, Trey Hendrickson is a phenomenal football player defensively. The defense for the Bengals has been way better than I thought it was going to be honest with you. Like, they're at least competitive for the most part. I don't know. It feels bad. I sit here as a Jets fan saying, I'm sorry, Bengals fans.
All right. Caesar saying it's okay, Paul. At least this puts y'all in prime position to draft Arch Manning in
Arch
this
isn't
year's
coming out this year.
But also, do you want to draft Arch Manning? He hasn't really shown like.
Does it matter?
Like
Doesn't matter.
You're going to give up on Justin Fields.
But it doesn't matter. The Jets. It doesn't matter who the Jets take. The Jets could take Jesus Christ himself to play quarterback.
The Jets could get Pat Mahomes in the miraculous trade and stink it out.
It is a snake-bitten franchise. I don't know how else to put it, how else to tell you guys until proven otherwise. It's the facts.
Well, if there's anyone that understands that, it would be myself and the Chicago Bears.
But I do appreciate, by the way, you, Caesar. Thank you for trying to make me feel better. That's why we love you. I also do have the Knicks to look forward to. He's 100% right. October 22nd can't come soon enough.
Yes, but speaking of the Knicks and how they were in the playoffs, so we got playoff baseball and all of our teams, that being our HSRN team here, at least the full-time team anyways, because I know we got no Braves in here today. But we are here at the MLB Playoffs, so we will talk about that when we come back on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei Agbayani on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Kuʻulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Somewhat of a makeup stream because we couldn't be with you guys yesterday. Hopefully things won't be wonky from here on out. You know, reminder to update your firmware and all of that stuff because that could have been maybe the issue with our cameras that we use here in studio. But we were happy to be with you guys, and thank you so much for joining in. Feel free to chime in on the live chat or text us at 808-888-KG1. It's 808-888-5481. All right, everybody. The MLB playoffs are here. We got a pretty close one, actually, right now going on. Bottom of the fifth for this AL wild card between the Tigers and Guardians, and tied 1-1 right now. Again, bottom of the fifth, 2 outs. If you guys don't know, the Guardians are the home team. This will be fun. Hopefully it's not this stressful for my Cubbies game that is coming up later today, but you never know because, yeah, I mean, I kind of miss the feeling of being stressed when I watch playoff baseball. It's been like 5 years since the Cubs were in the playoffs, and of course, almost we're coming up on the 10-year mark pretty soon since they won that World Series, getting rid of that 100+ year drought. So yes, and as you guys can see on the YouTube anyways, like I am donning my Chicago Cubs hat for game day, and we are so excited. But yes, Major League Baseball playoffs. Let me pull up the bracket for you guys over here. So again, wild cards going on throughout the next few days. The first round, as we mentioned, on the AL side, you got the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Guardians, and then as if you couldn't get Paul more stressed during football season, in the wild card series, you got the Boston Red Sox and the toxic New York Yankees. Toxic might be an understatement for this series in a best of 3 series here in the wild card. On the other side, in the NL, you got Michael Escaro's Los Angeles Dodgers, or although take that how you must. He's kind of like how He kind of is like how Alan Mia is like a Rams fan. Yeah, it's like
the same exact thing.
Like they cheer for the team, they like the team, they don some of the like. Well, I don't know if Alan even wears any Rams stuff, but I know Michael has like
a tick more like
of a Dodgers fan,
right?
Yeah.
But it's at least enough of a comparison that it works.
Yeah. So the Dodgers and the Reds, and of course, if history would have it, we have the NL Central very well represented as always. So yes, the Reds are in there. Shout out Eric Matthews from the University of Hawaii, the director of marketing and fan experience. That's his team with the Reds. And then of course, last but definitely not least, the Chicago Cubs going at it with the San Diego Padres. Again, that game coming up in just over 30 minutes. Shout out to our, as if he was kind of like already our competitor in a way. He has to work for the other guys. Our friend Tiff Wells is a Padres fan, so I can imagine we can have fun with that, with the Cubs and Padres going at it, because he's like the only Padres fan that I know personally. I'm sure I might be missing or forgetting someone, but he's the only one I thought of right away. So, yeah.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, so I'm like, all right, that's going to be... Oh, no, he's a Mariners fan. Everyone else we know is pretty much Mariners fans, which the Mariners are in it, of course, but they don't have to play in the wild card. So, woo!
Either way.
How are we looking at, Paul? Are we excited for playoff baseball? And again, if there was any, as you guys know, or some of you don't, they've continued to expand the MLB playoffs. This most recent expansion has come just a few years ago. But as I mentioned in hour number 1, if there was any year to have like this amount of teams, it would be this year, because it is really anybody's World Series to win. We talk about the parity in the NFL this year as the regular season. We are only a few weeks in. But the MLB playoffs, I think, will be very exciting for baseball fans. Obviously, if you're looking at it from, like, I guess, a rating standpoint, typically you'd want some of the bigger brands in there, like the Cubs or the Dodgers and the Yankees and everything like that. But I think fans can be really excited about this series. Again, games coming up today. Tigers, Guardians going on right now. Padres, Cubs at 9 o'clock. And then Paul will get his stress on at around midday today with the Yankees and Red Sox. And then the nightcap are the Dodgers and Reds, who I know there's a lot of Dodger fans out here in Hawaii and trying to go for the back-to-back World Series that hasn't been done since the New York Yankees. So obviously, everyone who are not Dodger fans, like us in this studio, are rooting against them. And especially because our teams are in it. So we're rooting for our teams until further notice.
Yeah, obviously. 335 days since the last postseason game. It's just good to have postseason baseball back. It's the best time of year for any type of baseball fan. My wife was talking about how she wanted to get more into baseball this year. She did not end up doing that, but said she wanted to do so again now as we're entering postseason baseball. And I said it's perfect because this is where baseball becomes much more pageantry than it is during the regular season. The 162 games it's a marathon, right? You have to try and make it on through. And we were talking about this yesterday. Part of winning a World Series, what makes it so impressive is being able to go through that 162 game up and down roller coaster of a schedule and survive the injuries and repack your team and have young breakout stars and all of that. And then baseball, the playoffs is where all of those things become magnified. So let's start right here with the Guardians and the Tigers. It's a 3-game series, obviously, in the wild card round. That was a change that's relatively recent. Used to be the wild card game, one game, winner takes all.
Yes.
The Yankees were very much so in that consistently. So very stressful times.
Yes.
But this is a fun one. This series is pretty fun for multiple reasons, right? The Tigers blew, I mean, they had the biggest collapse, maybe in baseball history when it comes to the division. They blow a 15.5 game lead in the division.
Bigger than the Mets this year.
Yeah. Because the Mets collapsed, but the Tigers had a 15.5 game over or 15.5 game lead over the Guardians in late July for the division, and then did not win the division. It is horrific. Obviously, we've seen other collapses in baseball, but in terms of regular season collapses, this perhaps is the most stunning ever. Cleveland's just the second ever team, by the way, to make the playoffs with an on-base percentage as a team below 300. The only other team in baseball history are the 1968 Cardinals, who had Bob Gibson, who was pretty good at baseball. I don't know if you guys know that. Tariq Skubal is the guy who's on the mound today. He's been shoving for the Tigers all year. He's on the way to win back-to-back AL Cy Young awards. He's outstanding. If he was able to lead the Tigers to a victory in this game, all of a sudden it becomes a lot more difficult for the Guardians, who play guards ball. Cleveland is... I think Cleveland should be the favorite of Hawaii fans who don't have a team to root for in this postseason for a couple of reasons. One, they have multiple ties to Hawaii. Cade Smith, their closer, former baseball player, and then they also have Joey Cantillo, who left-handed pitcher out of Kailua, who is a breakout rookie star for the Guardians. So in terms of...
And Kai Correa on the coaching staff.
Kai Correa is also
there
on
now
the staff.
So I guess that's Hawaii's unofficial team. Like you said,
if you're looking for a
team. You
team.
don't have a team to cheer for that probably has the most. Shout out to Isaiah Kainer-Falefa, though, that is on the Blue Jays as well.
Yeah, well, he was with the Pirates for most of the season, and also I hate the Blue Jays, so sadly.
So, and it's 3-1, the Guardians versus the Blue Jays in terms of how many they have in Hawaii ties. So I guess, like we said, for our Hawaii fans, just pay a little more attention to the Guardians if you don't have a team in here.
Yeah.
Or the Cubs.
Anyway, I was talking about Detroit having a collapse. They played .292 ball in September, by the way. They were once the number one team in the AL. They went 7-17 in the final month of the season. So either they're going to turn it on late or their collapse is going to reach all-time bad levels in this series. The Yankees versus the Red Sox, the first postseason trip for Boston since 2021, when they beat New York in the wild card game, and then they lost in 4 games to the Rays that year. That year actually was when Kyle's Braves won the World Series over the Houston Astros. The Astros missing the playoffs for the first time in like a decade
Ooh.
Pretty nice.
I ain't mad about that.
I was going to say, pretty nice to have that happen. This is the 6th all-time meeting between the storied rivals in the postseason for the Yankees and the Red Sox. That is, happened first in 1999, then in 2003. Those are the only two that the Yankees have won ever since. The Red Sox have won 3 straight meetings. 2004, everybody knows about that. I don't have to talk about it. 2018 and 2021. 2004 and 2018, obviously both years that ended up being pretty darn good for the Red Sox. The Yankees hoping to get their lick back. The Yankees haven't beaten Boston in the postseason since their manager hit a walk-off home run in Game 7 in that 2003 ALCS. And the biggest thing for me in this one is Garrett Crochet versus Max Fried. Fried has been a top 5 pitcher in the AL this season, and Garrett Crochet, if Tariq Skubal didn't exist, probably wins your Cy Young award in the AL this season. So that's going to be a killer matchup to kick things off today. AL side is very, very exciting. Aroldis Chapman has been outstanding for the Red Sox because I hate him. Whatever. He has had one blown save since May. So, whatever. And the Yankees have...
Although you're welcome to Yankees fans because Aroldis Chapman pretty much spent everything of his glory days with the Chicago Cubs to win that World Series. So when he went back to the Yankees, it just wasn't...
I told you the story about him. He very much so frustrates me. The Yankees have an awesome offense, and I don't mean just like Aaron Judge. They have 7 different players with 20-plus home runs on the year and 10 different players who have hit at least 10 home runs this season. Non-Judge hitters for the Yankees have 221 bombs. That would rank 7th in the MLB this year.
All right, we got to take a break. We'll come back to continue some Major League Baseball talk, also get into some high school football a little later in this hour as well. And again, join us on our YouTube channel, special Tuesday live stream we got going on today. We'll be right back on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei Agbayani on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Kuʻulei Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, HawaiiSportsRadio.com, streaming live on our YouTube channel. And you guys can always listen on demand wherever you get most podcasts. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this and every weekday morning from 8 to 10. And this week, Thursday, we will be here for 2 hours. But it will be myself and Michael Lascaro joining me in studio because Paul will be gone. He's going back over to the East Coast for a little bit, going to be a part of a friend's wedding. So we will be without Paul from Thursday to next week, Tuesday. So got a little bit of time there before we see and chat with Paul. But he'll be here tomorrow, of course. And Michael Lascaro will be joining me in a studio this week, Thursday, Friday, and then next week, Monday and Tuesday. And again, now that it seems like everything's okay with our live stream, we will be live next week, Monday. Although I say that cautiously because you never
barring
know.
anything.
You just never know what's going to happen. All right. Just a little bit more about this MLB playoffs going on right now. Again, the Guardians and Tigers are going at it right now. The game is still tied at the bottom of the sixth between those two teams. Can we imagine if the first game of the playoffs we get like extras? It would be pure fashion to match how toxic this playoff series will be. We didn't really talk about it earlier, but we're talking about the wild cards. If you look at the AL side, as we mentioned, the Seattle Mariners will await the winner of this series that's going on right now in the Guardians and Tigers. On the other side of the playoff bracket, the Toronto Blue Jays will await the Boston Red Sox and the New York Yankees winner, which we will get to that in just a little bit. On the other side, in the NL, you have the Dodgers and Reds going at it in the wild card, and then the red-hot Philadelphia Phillies. Shout out Kyle Schwarber, who's having a phenomenal year. Schwarby, phenomenal year this year, awaits that winner. And then you have the Cubs and Padres, and the winner, the other red-hot team that has down the stretch, especially the Milwaukee Brewers. But as I mentioned, 3 teams in the same division on that NL side.
You can't escape it.
And so if the Cubs win, they would go on to play the Milwaukee Brewers, who they've been battling this entire season. So it's just toxic. And then when you look at the other side where Paul's team and the New York Yankees, there's like this rivalry because you have like that kind of like that upper part of the continent on the East Coast with the Toronto Blue Jays. It's going to be insane, but it's going to make it even that much more fun. The Phillies are your favorites just by a little bit to win the World Series as it stands right now. Odds via BetMGM. Phillies are your plus 450 favorite to win the World Series, followed closely behind with the LA Dodgers at 5-1. You got the Mariners. Shout out Mariners. We apologize that our systems have not been able to work, so we haven't been bringing you a lot of Mariners games. We're going to effort bringing you as many of the playoff games as we can. So we'll announce it on our social media on which games we're able to bring to you guys with the Mariners. But the Mariners, plus 550 odds to win the World Series. So third shortest odds, the Yankees and Blue Jays are at 7-1. The Brewers are at 8-1. And then you drop off to the Cubs at 14-1. Padres 15-1. Red Sox 8-1. Yada, 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 yada. So we got Phillies, Dodgers, Mariners, Yankees, and Brewers that I guess would all be, in terms of the betting market and the betting odds, would be the favorites or likely to win the World Series. But as we know, anything happens in October, so we'll see how it goes. But yes, Paul, the most toxic playoffs and the most parity in a playoffs that could ever happen.
So if you're not like in tune to it, like I very much so recommend just going on to baseball Twitter of any kind and just seeing fans interact with each other, because it truly is incredible. The Yankees and the Red Sox have a hate unlike basically any other.
Yeah.
The Cubs and the Brewers have a little extra to them, so that's part
it's not
of
the Cardinals, but still, it's
part of why I'm rooting for it. Well, where'd you get your manager from, Ku?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think that
Hey, it was their fault though. They let him go.
I am not saying
not like we stole him.
I am not saying anything other than there is a history. It's like when your ex, you're going against your ex's new boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever it may be. You know, like there's something to it. That has a chance to be incredibly toxic. If the Padres and Dodgers end up meeting in the NLCS, we've seen those two teams. I mean, obviously the Reds aren't like,
would be lit
dude,
if it ends up being the Padres and Dodgers.
God.
Like to the point where I would worry about. I mean, baseball has gotten a little crazy, and we do not encourage some of the violence that we see at a lot of these sporting events. And they better up security if it's the Padres and Dodgers in the NLCS. Like,
genuinely
that's crazy.
curious, because that's like, I'm genuinely curious about Red Sox Yankees, about the amount of security and amount of like crackdown on it. Because so the Yankees and Yankee Stadium sometimes goes by the nickname the Bronx Zoo, purposefully, because, well, you'll take a couple of reasons, but there's a level to it. And this is another conversation for sports fans and another conversation for another day, where there's being passionate and then there's being like bad. There's derogatory. There's like abusive and whatever.
Yeah.
I hope we don't get to that point, because a toxic playoffs can be super fun. Rivalries are supposed to be fun in teams. But I'm not saying it in a way where it's like, I hope a 99-mile-an-hour fastball goes into somebody's head.
Kind of like how we were talking about it yesterday, where last week the Cardinals intentionally walked Michael Bush to prevent him from going through the cycle. They're like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Win or lose did not matter for the Cardinals. But they're like, how about we just walk you so you don't get, like, that stuff is fun. Like, as a fan of the team that they messed it up for, like, I was like so mad at the Cardinals. But then you're like, well, that's kind of funny.
It's funny. Yeah. It's rivalry stuff. And I mean, like, I hope we get you're going to get expletives thrown at each other.
Yeah,
you're going to get the stare downs. You're going to get the big bat flips. Like, I hope they ham it up in all of those ways. I'm not really into it when the fans are going at it in the stands. I find that just kind of untowardly, if I'm being quite honest. Otherwise, I think it's going to be awesome. I mean, chirp each other on social media, within reason, of course. Like, this has a chance to be such a fun, like, trash talking junk, whether it's players, fans.
You talk about fan bases. I mean, Phillies, Dodgers. Phillies fans.
Anyone.
Dodgers.
Phillies, anyone. Love Philadelphia, my fellow East Coast folk. You want to talk about some untowardly people. Philadelphia ranks up there with the best of them. I say as a New Yorker. We are amongst the same crowd, I'll say.
Is there any drama in like the opposite side for that ALDS? Like if Seattle, like would there be any drama with like the Mariners and the Guardians, or like the Tigers, or would that be kind of like the most tame?
In my opinion, it's the most
in terms of
tame.
Outside drama. Watch that be like the most exciting baseball series.
Yeah, I'm sure
but
it'd
like
be a great
outside
series,
drama
but
storyline, it's probably like the most.
Well, because there's no real hate to it, right? Because like Yankees, Red Sox, there's a legitimate hate that goes back 100 years. You got the Babe Ruth curse. You got Pedro Martinez tackling Don Zimmer and all of these, like,
it's
you
everything.
have history. You have, the Cubs and the Brewers, you've got history between those two legitimately like hating each other. And not only that, you've got crossover between these teams, like Yankees, Red Sox. Aroldis Chapman was a Yankee for a long time and now is a star for the Red Sox. Like Trevor Story grew up a Red Sox fan. There are a ton of different things there. It's just not really the case. I mean, like, I think Josh Naylor plays for the Mariners now. So, like, he used to play for the Guardians and his brother is on the Guardians. So maybe that's like a storyline, I guess. But, like, both of those, I'm going to say this, they're probably two of the most likable teams in the, like, not that other teams are unlikable, but the Guardians it makes no sense that they're in the playoffs, let alone a divisional champion. And the Mariners are fun. I mean, I don't know how you can dislike the Mariners.
No, the Mariners are probably the most,
and they're also a complete team.
Yeah, and so if we go with the betting odds, again, we talked about how the Phillies have the shortest odds to win the World Series. If you do look at more futures, where you look at the winner of the American and the National League, again, these are all portioned off different odds via BetMGM. The National League winner, as it being the favorite, are the Phillies at plus 210, and then the American League winner, you got the Mariners actually here with the shortest odds at 2-1, followed closely behind by the Blue Jays at plus 275. The Dodgers are right behind the Phillies at 3-1. So could the betting market be correct, and we see a Mariners Phillies World Series, which would be kind of interesting? I think even for me as like. And I just know, because I know a lot of Mariners fans here in Hawaii, obviously, with like the Ichiro days, the Ken Griffey Jr. days, of course. There's a ton of Mariners fans here, but like, I think that would just be a really fun, series. And the Phillies are red hot with, as we mentioned, Kyle Schwarber. Do you think that could be the World Series, or are you anticipating, like, taking your fandom cap off for the New York Yankees? Who do you think is going to end up in the World Series?
So I don't know, because you said it actually perfectly when we first started talking about this. It's so wide open where the parity is so good. You could tell me that any of the teams in the playoffs won the World Series, and I think I would believe you at this point. I think it's totally fair to have the Mariners and the Phillies as two of the favorites. I think the Mariners have an outstanding pitching staff, especially their rotation is just out. It's so strong, and they did a great job adding extra bats at the deadline. You have Cal Raleigh, who very much so, rightfully so, is in the AL MVP conversation after hitting 60 home runs as a catcher. Next to him, you have Eugenio Suarez, who just missed out, I think, on 50 home runs. Very quietly, almost had 50 home runs somehow. And up and down the lineup, they're just very quality. I think that's a totally fair thing. It also would be fun. They've never won a World Series. The Mariners have never won a World Series. They were an expansion team in 1977. I don't think they've even made it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure.
We're going to have to look that up. Like, that's so weird to me because, like I said, thinking of the glory days of Ken Griffey Jr. and then Ichiro Suzuki, and to not...
They always ran into the Yankees.
That's right. Like during the Yankees
the
glory
Yankees
days.
dynasty of 96,
right.
98, 99.
They're like the Utah Jazz and the Chicago Bulls era, and like Charles Barkley and the Bulls, where you're just
really
like,
great
oh,
team.
sorry. Like,
sorry.
Any other era, your team could have won the NBA, but at least like the Jazz made it to the final. But yeah, is so.
I got it right here. Seattle's never made it to the Fall Classic. They made it to 3 AL championship series between 95 and 2001 and lost all 3.
Are they all 3 to that? Yeah, Yankees.
I don't think 95 was to the Yankees, because 95 was the year that kind of kicked off the Yankees' new dynasty, where they got a little bit younger. They brought up Jeter, the core 4 in 96, brought in Torre, and all of those things. So 95, I believe they knocked out the Yankees, but I don't remember what happened after that.
Interesting.
I also wasn't alive, to be fair. So.
Yeah, you definitely don't remember. Anyways, we got to take a break, and it looks like the Tigers have taken a 1-run lead over the Guardians. So top of the 7th, Tigers up 2-1. But if you know anything about baseball, you can do a lot in 2 innings. So we will see what happens. And again, the Guardians are the home team. So they have like the full, 3 opportunities now still. But inning is still going, and we'll keep you guys updated as we go along. We're going to take a break. We'll be back to close out hour number 1 on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei Agbayani on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Kuʻulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. And usually our normal YouTube live stream is every single Monday. We're doing a special one today because we didn't have one yesterday, but you'll be able to watch the recording of yesterday a little later today. We'll have that up on our YouTube channel because that show had more of our reactions, obviously, to UH football's big win at Air Force as they are in the bye week. And we will have Coach Chef on. We're going to chat with Coach Chef, not live on the show today, but we are scheduled to have an interview with him a little later this morning. So you'll be able to hear that either tomorrow or Thursday. So we'll talk a lot of special teams and still have your UH football content during this bye week. But just a few minutes left in the rest of this hour. Shout out to some of our new, not texters, but our new YouTube chatters in here. We got Joey and Royal. And we got Joey saying Seattle Mariners, multiple exclamation points. We are due. And then always saying Mariners are the only team who never been to the World Series, as Paul was mentioning. You got Royal, who said, I want to call in and chat MLB. Or football. So like football, FUTBOL. So there you go.
Makes our Alan Mia's heart happy, I'm sure. And also, we love soccer as well.
Oh, of course.
Football. But just speaking all the, other Americans.
Yeah. So shout out to you guys, new people in our live YouTube chat, and you guys can chime in at any time or text us at 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481. Since we only got a couple minutes left, just a real quick thing when it comes to college football, and that they officially announced another CFP title game location, the one in 2028, and that will be at the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans. And then let's see, we got to go back. Las Vegas will be in 2027. New Orleans is in 2028. Tampa is in 2029, and Miami is in 2030.
When are they going to Syracuse? What, they don't want to go to upstate New York? Las Vegas, New Orleans, Tampa, Miami, Syracuse.
Hawaii, no.
See, Hawaii actually fits a lot better with those, at least. We don't have the same facilities, I guess. But I don't think anybody's trying to go to upstate New York in January.
Oh, yeah.
With love and respect to my home.
Yeah, we see we've seen enough of what happens because like Buffalo is always hosting those games. But in case you guys were wondering, this next year's or this season's CFP title game is in Miami. So, by the way, speaking of college football, how about them Ducks? Woohoo! Bye-bye, Penn State. Still a very good team, very competitive game, but it was a nice thing to watch. And Dan Lanning, man. That guy.
He's a psycho.
By far
I love him.
One of my favorite coaches, just like Ben Johnson. Like, I love when these head coaches have like a little bit of psycho to him, but the post-game interview, and obviously people are making their comments of whatever. Clearly, he does not do that. But if there's anything that looks like someone, gets snowy, I guess you can say, it would be Dan Lanning in that post-game when he was just like,
dude, he is a psycho. I love it. Like, I really love him. If I beat
Penn State, like if I'm Oregon, like heck yeah, like there you go. And it was the whiteout and all of that stuff in the glory. So shout out Oregon.
I feel bad. I feel almost like a fake East Coast person because I'm such a like Penn State hater. I always root for them to lose. It's such a bad thing. It's a bad habit of mine. You either love Penn State or you hate Penn State when you're from the Northeast. And it's like, and I have friends who went to Penn State who like I would do anything for. I'm not part of that cult, sadly.
I get it. So now Oregon, though, moving all the way up there to number 2 in the AP Top 25 poll. Ohio State, of course, still remains at the top as they are undefeated as well. 3, we got Miami, Florida. 4, Ole Miss. 5, Oklahoma. 6, Texas A&M. 7, Penn State. So they dropped 4 spots back to 7. Indiana at 8. Texas at 9, and Alabama rounds out the top 10 in the AP top 25. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be back for hour number 2 on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network.
to more Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den, hour number 2. I'm Kuʻulei alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM, AM 760, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for tuning in wherever you're tuning in from, or if you're listening on demand, wherever you get most podcasts. Again, we are with you live every weekday morning from 8 to 10 and on YouTube normally every Monday, but doing a special Tuesday live stream because we weren't able to hang out with you guys yesterday. But it seems like all the technical issues, at least for today anyways, have been figured out. We will see what happens next week Monday, because at this point anything can happen. You know, technology, great until it doesn't work, and then you gotta figure out and roll with the punches and see what happens. All right, coming up in this hour, we'll get into some high school sports. We'll also talk some Hawaii Pacific University men's basketball again, and something that we talked about it a little bit last week as Paul had a chance to go out to practice, but Paul did have the chance to actually catch up with head coach Jesse Nakanishi because, and I wanted to kind of talk about that today because we get to have a paina later on tonight,
I'm
Paul.
pumped.
We get
I'm
to
so
see
pumped.
this team a little bit. We get to hang out with Jesse and the coaches, meet the new coach as well. Well, you probably already met him, but it's going to be a fun time this evening. So I kind of wanted to get our like HPU, propaganda out there because we have we got the paina going on tonight, and we get into October where now it really feels like basketball season is that much closer because beginning of November, pretty much every team is in action, right? Either the 3rd or 4th, with HPU going to Boise to open up the season. You got UH going to Oregon, and you have the UH women's basketball team actually having a couple of exhibition games against Chaminade and HPU in October. So we got a lot. So we'll get to some HPU basketball as well, and like I said, some high school sports and a bunch of stuff. But again, thank you guys for tuning in. Chime in on the live chat or text us at 808-888-KG1. That's 808-888-5481. Just real quick before we get back into some UH football and some other college football, you have Joy again, a new chimer inner.
I don't know. That one's all you.
I
friend.
don't even know what that was. I was just excited
That's
that we
close
have new friends in the chat, so I got really excited. So, asking about the Aloha Stadium, they have not torn it down yet, but they are in
Finally
the process.
Sign some papers.
We should see some
they will.
tangible progress pretty soon because the papers that needed to be signed have been signed, and we should start to see stuff. There's going to be a concert in October to, I guess, commemorate everything happening. So yeah, we'll keep you guys posted on that. And then they were mentioning something about no call in from UK. Hey, if you're watching in from UK, this is Mr. Royal. Shout out that we have
First off, cool name.
UK, Australia, Boise,
we've
Maui, of course. We can't forget our friends on Maui.
And our friends on Maui, you mean the goat Caesar, our boy? My God. One of the OGs, by the way, he was saying early on in the chat today, he was mentioning how he thought he had missed our YouTube stream yesterday. He did not. We apologize again to anybody who thought they missed our stream yesterday. Just some technical difficulties.
Yes.
And by that, I mean Paul can't use iPads, apparently. But no, he had mentioned he's been a listener since 2021, so he predates me.
Wow.
He's been here since the very beginning with you.
Woohoo!
So he's as OG as OG gets, and we love adding in any new smiling faces. Also, yeah, like I said, Royal, by the way, all name team contender immediately for the chat. The chat all name team. There we go.
But yes, thank you guys for tuning in. All right, I want to get back into some college football. We'll start off with UH because, as we mentioned, bye week, them coming off of that big win at Air Force, just the 3rd road win under head coach Timmy Chang for the Rainbow Warriors, but massive amount of 44 points, all that stuff. Like I said, we talked a lot about just recapping that game on yesterday's show, but because they're on a bye week, it doesn't mean that they are not working. Now, I know from practice-wise, they don't have practice. They didn't have practice yesterday. They don't have practice today, and then they start up, like coaches start up their meetings and everything tomorrow, and then getting prepared for Utah State here next week, Saturday. But It doesn't mean that, again, they're sleeping on the job or not doing anything. I mean, I don't even know where Coach Jeff Reinbold is right now. He's like traveling
Everywhere.
somewhere.
He's in like 6 different places right now.
So the bye week, he's out there recruiting the next set of Rainbow Warriors to add to his D-line room. Also, if we take a look at Twitter, I know you retweeted some, Paul, that a lot of offers that are going out right now. Let's see, you have Braley Manning continuing the Bishop Gorman pipeline that we have going on right here. So Braley Manning, class of 2029 DB, but also runs track and field, runs the 100, 200, 400, and long jump. So it's probably pretty fast there at Bishop Gorman to participate in track and field. But again, class of 2029, he tweeted out that he received an offer saying, "Thank you, Coach Kapanui. Blessed to receive an offer from the University of Hawaii." Let's see some other ones we saw on Twitter. Monson Tukuafa.
No way you were gonna try and get me to help you out on that one.
But
there was no way you were gonna try and get me to help.
But the weird thing is, it isn't like we've seen much more difficult Polynesian names, obviously.
Yes.
And as someone whose last name was Ugbayani before Benny Ugbayani was mainstream, it was a very difficult name when teachers had to look at it and be like, "How do I pronounce this name?" But it's Monson, so Monson. But for some reason, I feel like that's not the correct pronunciation.
Monson. So Monson feels correct.
There we go.
But
I was overthinking it.
In my mind, I want to say monsoon.
That's okay. That's
like in my mind, I want to say monsoon. I'm sure it's Monson.
Okay,
but I will give you the.
So maybe I was just overthinking it myself because I was seeing monsoon.
Yeah, you hung out with the Howley too much, is what you're doing. That's what's happened here.
Anywho, Tukuafa. The name that is probably more difficult to some of the other friends on the continent is like the easy one for me. His last name, 6'3", 225 pounder at 16 years old is what his Twitter bio says. So, linebacker. Let's see. He runs his 40 in 4.7 seconds.
That's bigger than all of our linebackers right now, right?
Oh, yeah. Our linebacking core. Now, granted, they make up for it because they're so awesome.
I was going to say, they're very smart and they're very technically sound.
Yeah, they rarely miss their tackles. They're quick. They're smart.
But they're also a little undersized comparatively to what some linebackers will be, yes.
Yeah, so let's see. Class of 2027, smart kid, 3.6 GPA, but yes, 6'3", 225 pounder. Let's see, moving down, another one I saw, let's see, we got a Braylon Maximums, Rayford, 6'3", 200-pound running back / athlete out of Bishop Gorman, class of 2029.
Or something, I don't know.
Let's see, bench 275 pounds, squat 405. Ooh, that's good or what? 405 squat.
2029.
And same thing, after a conversation with Coach Kapanui, I'm blessed to receive an offer from the University of Hawaii, and tagged our friend Brandon Huffman of 247 Sports and Coach CB and Coach Kapanui. So those were some of the ones that we saw come across on social media. I know, like I said, Jeff Reinbold is out somewhere. It seems like there was like a photo posted of him. So even though it is the bye week, we got our football coaches, of course, still actively recruiting.
It's the bye week, which means it's time to go recruit.
Technically off from practices and meetings, but I'm sure it's their version of work from home. It's like, hey, work from home, but you still got to go and do like
work
part
from
of your
home.
job. And
go to New Mexico and talk to these recruits. Go to Nevada, talk to these recruits.
Hey,
listen, and that's something that we've talked about before with this UH coaching staff that at least I appreciate a ton, and I know a lot of fans do. I know you do as well, but I'm speaking for me, where the importance that is put on recruiting and relationships and leaving no stone unturned. I mean, Coach Reinbold, not only is he going to high schools, but he's going to JUCOs. I mean, the most recent one I saw he was at was, New Mexico Military Institute.
Yeah.
You know, like these coaches love recruiting. And in a sport that sees so much turnover, in a world where you see college athletes moving on from program to program, you always have to be looking for talent to try and bring in. And to this coaching staff's credit, they have done a phenomenal job not letting any opportunity go to recruit. Every time they're on the continent, it feels like they're letting out offers. Anytime there's a bye week, they're letting out more offers. They're talking to recruits. They do a great job. They deserve the credit for it, especially because it is difficult in today's day and world, especially when you don't have P4 resources.
Yeah, it seems like Jeff Reinbold, at least according to like tracking him on Twitter, 6 hours ago, he posted riding for Hawaii football, for the Hawaii football brand through the state of Texas. JUCO boys, stand up. We don't want every guy, just the right guys in our hashtag brotherhood. So there you go. Jeff Reinbold appears to be in the state of Texas looking for JUCO guys, I guess. And we like the JUCO kids because
they're good at football in Texas.
Yeah, they're pretty good. And JUCO, I love when we recruit JUCO just because they're a little bit older. They've gone through the college student athlete experience already. So when they come to Division I, they're already, for the most part, like, had that minor transition from high school to college and being a student athlete, and they're just taking a level or a step up. I also wanted to bring this up and maybe show some people on our YouTube chat that the Hawaiian rental that always has cool signs there, it says like everything's mo better when UH football wins. So that's pretty cool that I saw, and it's been kind of making its rounds. I don't know if you guys can see it on our YouTube, but shout out to Hawaiian rental because they always have the fun signs, but everything is mo better when UH football wins.
I do miss our old studio ever so slightly. I miss early on working for HSRN because I would take my moped in each day to our old studios, and I would always pass that sign on the way into work. So I would always get a nice little update. And now that UH football is good, I'm very curious what they're going to continue to do. So I might just start taking some scenic route trips on my way in, pass it, come all the way through and see. Maybe I'll take my own picture if I'm at a red light or something because I don't text and drive. Don't text and drive, people.
No. PSA. Especially
Visit NHGS.
All right, before we go to break, though, some of the other, taking a look at the other college football scoreboard, we were talking about that Oregon-Penn State game again. I was like totally feeling Dan Lanning's vibe when he was all fired up because watching that game as well. I mean, Oregon, and it wasn't just a win for Oregon, again, 30-24 over Penn State, over the Nittany.
I know you did that on purpose, but it's still funny.
If anybody doesn't know, like, I just have like this weird problem. I think it's because they're lions and Nittany just sounds cuter. I don't know.
I have no idea. No clue.
The Oregon Duck
could be way worse.
The Oregon Duck mascot though on College Game Day in the background was had a sign that said like Nittany Lions sounds like a reject Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm there. I can hear that.
Especially for us Penn State haters. So there you go. Yeah. I was like, yeah,
Has James
Pokemon,
Franklin ever won a big game? What's the big? So it's funny, and I hate to say this about our Boise State friends.
Oh, he just lives and works there.
No. I mean like the legitimate people, because like I hate Boise State, but part of me like when they were in the playoff, I'm like represent for the Mountain West. How did Penn State get the only like non-big like playoff games last year? Like the big matchups, they got the easier quote unquote ones, and then they got knocked out. They never win big games with James Franklin, ever.
I just love how Oregon, obviously the new team in the Big Ten, sad face, and at the time they were ranked behind Penn State. I just love the fact that because it stems back from the Big Ten media days when James Franklin like crashed out about, oh, our thing is in Vegas and we have to travel this far and our media members like can't travel here, blah, 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 blah. And he crashed out all about that. And then it's like, you got the team that part of the reason why it's in Vegas is because it's a bit more central to the new teams that are in the Big Ten. And Vegas is just awesome to host events like that. There you go, James Franklin. Welcome to the Big Ten. With Oregon, when Oregon beats you, that came over from the Pac-12.
I just don't like him. I just think he complains too much.
Yeah.
I just think he's like, I don't know. It's the nose higher than everybody else. Like nose raised, and I don't know. I just don't like him. I don't like him, and he's not that successful. And also, sorry, I don't like Penn State.
Also, someone that's very popular in the YouTube chat in Kalani Sitake, the BYU. Only close one against Colorado, 24-21. So that was a close one for BYU.
Colorado got fined for some sort of statement or whatever. It just came out. Trying to see what it is. But yeah, it was something a lot. Colorado football fined $50,000. Big 12 announced fine and public reprimand for hateful fan chants during BYU game. Very curious what that was.
Interesting.
We talk about this all the time. Like there's a level of like fun toxicity, and then there's taking it too far. So I'm curious what they did to take it too far. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You brought that up, and I was like, interesting.
I don't know, probably the massive thing that happened over the weekend, probably the coolest video, but at the same time, the scariest video I saw from college football this past weekend was that Virginia field storm.
Dude.
After they beat Fresno State, Florida State, excuse me. And then it was like 46-38 in overtime. If you guys did not see that field storm video by Virginia, look it up, because again, it's awesome, but at the same time very scary, because they basically broke up a pass in the end zone that could have lifted Florida State, but the Florida State receiver essentially is on the ground, and then the game ends and the fans are already like at the sideline. Like usually it takes some time, so they storm in from the bleachers and whatever, but the fans are right up against the goal line, and once that is like an incomplete pass, you just see a wave of all of these students, and like you just see the receiver for Florida State like disappear, and he was like on the ground. So part of you is like concerned, because you're like, is he
hope he didn't get trampled?
On? Yeah, like so it looked cool in a sense, but it's like it was kind of scary, and like, and again, this is maybe my anti-cool status, so that's why I'm like, oh, the poor player is getting trampled on, right? Like, it was wild. Like, if you guys didn't see it, again, Virginia upsets Florida State. I mean, both teams were technically ranked, so how much of an upset it was, but still, it was crazy. And like, just when I feel like I'm almost like understating it, where I talk about like a wave of people. I don't think I've ever seen a field storm like that, because again, usually they're still in the stands, but somehow they were already allowed to like line, which was like, who lets that happen too? Like Virginia officials just were like, yeah, sure, just line up on the side. It's cool. Start your field storm right at the front of the line. It was insane. So I'm curious to see. Did you see anything about like if they got? I'm assuming they got to get fined for.
I would assume. I
know there is like a
but
general fine with the field storms now, but I that was crazy. Like that's next level. But I haven't really seen anything come out.
Looks like $50,000.
Jeez.
Yeah. Virginia football fined $50,000 for fans storming field after upsetting Florida State per Clutch Points on September 27th.
Interesting.
So seems they were also punished, which is like, I mean, they should.
I'm sure they do it again, probably.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we will get into some Hawaii Pacific University men's basketball and let you hear from head coach Jesse Nakanishi and what he has to say now that they are starting up their fall practices. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei Agbayani on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Kuʻulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network and hawaiisportsradio.com and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Normally every Monday, but we're doing a special live stream today to make up for not being able to hang out with you guys on YouTube yesterday. But by all accounts, seems like everything is figured out now. So next week, Monday, it'll be myself and actually Michael Lascaro in studio with me, as Paul will be gone from this Thursday till next week, Tuesday. So he'll be back with us next week, Wednesday, going back to his home area to be part of a wedding. So shout out to your friend in advance for, I guess you don't want to say that too soon. I don't know if it's a jinx, but
I feel pretty good about that.
Okay.
I'm pretty confident, but I appreciate the at the very least not trying to jinx anything.
Yeah. All right. But we are getting the party started later tonight for really feeling like it's basketball season. We got the HPU men's basketball tip-off Pa'ina happening tonight, where Paul and I get to kind of see the new/returning team for HPU. Talk a little bit with Jesse Nakanishi as they are getting geared up now. Practices have begun as they get geared up for their season opener at Boise State on November 3rd. Big time game for the Sharks, and they'll be battle tested right from the beginning. So we can't wait for that game. Obviously, they will play the University of Hawaiʻi. That game happening on November 24th. And then they start the Pac-West Conference season on December 2nd against Chaminade. And we will likely have that game for you on Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network as well. So we'll let you know, and we'll update our programming schedule for the HBU Sharks basketball season. But last week, Paul had a chance to go to practice and chat actually with head coach Jesse Nakanishi about his team, and just get a little bit of a preview and get his initial thoughts starting up practice. So here is Paul catching up with HPU men's basketball head coach Jesse Nakanishi.
Here with HPU men's basketball head coach Jesse Nakanishi. First week of practices for the 2025-26 season. I know you guys had summer workouts, but officially underway as a group now. How's it feel to be back in the gym with some new faces and a lot of returners as well?
Yeah, excitement at I don't want to say all-time high, but extremely high. At the beginning of the year, it's that time of the year, and we only get 8 hours with them a day, so we try to maximize every single minute. It's 4 hours on the court and 4 in the weight room. So, but it's exciting. We had a great coachable bunch. That's the first word that comes to mind, because they all want to be coached hard and they want to all be held to certain standards that we have here, and they're living up to them so far.
And then let's just kind of talk about the roster, right? A little bit of a different makeup this year, a little bit smaller in size perhaps, but maybe a little quicker as well. Maybe some more shooting. You guys have 9 returners, 8 new faces. Talk a little bit about what you expect as you put together this new roster.
Yeah, we've been really fortunate. We returned 9 out of 9 possible that could return through graduation and whatnot. So when you have that, you have a foundation of how you do things, and you infuse it with a solid group of newcomers, and so I feel like we're off to a much faster start than before. And our recruiting approach is get the best possible players we can get, and then we figure out how we're going to play. So it's making tweaks to what we've done in the past and trying to highlight the strengths of this new bunch along with the returners. And a big word that comes to mind is our versatility. Will be a little smaller than last year, or a lot smaller I should say, but being able to play to our strengths is what we're really trying to capitalize on and highlight in our offense and defense.
And then speaking of new faces, you also made an addition to the staff. You add Kyle Ruiz this offseason. Talk a little bit about what he brings to your coaching staff, brings to the bench and to practice and game day each day.
Oh, I couldn't be happier with that hire. I'm ecstatic. He brings a tremendous amount of value. That's all I keep preaching to our staff every day, is how can you add value to the program on and off the court. And, he's taken our strength and conditioning program to another level and raised the bar in that arena, and couldn't be more pleased. Our weight room environment is awesome to be in, with guys being great spotters, as we call, where they're cheering on for their teammates, and it's a high energy. And they're in the weight room at 6:30 in the morning, Monday, Wednesdays, and got really good energy. But in general, just he's really knowledgeable, and he brings a great sense of energy, and he's really passionate, a young go-getter grinder. He's that guy.
Sounds like he fits the Sharks mold to a T. Let's talk a little bit now about this preseason, the camp that you guys are about to undertake now as you prepare for a new year. You guys have Boise State as an exhibition game to start off November, just about 6 weeks before that. What are you hoping to see from your team, and what are you hoping to accomplish over these next 6 weeks before you guys, put rubber to the road and get going on the actual season?
Yeah, we're stuck in the 6 hours. 8 hours a week up until October 11th, and then we boost up to that 20 hours a week. So right now, we're just trying to get what we can and teach our foundation stuff, and yes, try to compete and get going in that area a little quicker. So it's looking can be a little, we're in disarray a lot of times, but right now it's just trying to get in our foundation of our X's and O's and how we do things and our approach in practice. And then once we can get to more hours during the week is where we'll be able to really make some big evaluations and decisions as far as playing time and all that, because it's going to, like you said, November 3rd is going to be here really quick. And talk about throwing them to the fire. We're going to be a big arena and a different environment in Boise, and it's going to be a tough challenge, but it's just, we're going to play our style and our brand of basketball no matter who we play. So we got to go get that brand in place right now.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Coach.
And that was HPU men's basketball head coach Jesse Nakanishi with our Paul Brecht last week, as they kind of got started with practices. Again, they don't switch to the 20 hours a week until October 11th, whereas with Division I, our D1 friends at UH Manoa, they are already in that 20-hour-a-week allotment. I know Aaron Ganot mentioned that last week when practices started. Like, he's just excited to be able to have all that much more time with their team. But Division II, obviously, rules vary based on what level you are. So for HPU and Division II, not till October 11th till they get that full 20 hours a week. So right now, still within the 8 hours a week. But man, I'm excited to see how they fare again against Boise State when they go up there to Boise, Idaho. And yes, our friend in Boise, we may just need a Boise correspondent there. So hey, don't offer, because we will be like, yeah, go to the game and be our correspondent from there. You'll be like our impromptu media representative for Hawaii Sports Radio Network. So, and you fit right in because our Boise friend went to Campbell, so he fits into our public school
He's
HSRN
funny,
crew here.
So
yeah.
Therefore, he fits
he's
right
good
in
with
my
our
book.
media team. Yeah. But no, we should, by all accounts, definitely get a bounce back season, right, Paul, from last week. We mentioned this a little bit last week, how UH men's basketball and HU men's basketball both are just looking to shake off the horrible seasons that they had, way below expectations for both programs. And then this year, though, with HPU having a lot of returnees, and we, like I said, we talked about it a lot last week, but if there is any optimism that we can have, it would be going into this season again with a lot of returnees, especially Josh West making a comeback from injury. Hopefully he is the same and doesn't lose a step, right? That's all you can hope for with a lot of these players. But man, I'm excited for some Sharks basketball.
You should be. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a really different team compared to the past couple of seasons in both the play style and the players that are actually there. There are 9 returners, the most that they could possibly have, because those are the 9 that were not graduating. But nonetheless, it was pretty awesome to just get a chance to see them in person. Similar to the UH team, I thought this team has a higher ceiling when it comes to shooting the basketball, which in a sport that I don't want to say revolves around the three-point shot, but at the very least, three-pointer, to have that as a weapon in your bag is a must at this point. This team has multiple guys who can come in and shoot, whether it's returners, whether it's guys they brought in through the portal. It's pretty fun, and it's not that they are tiny. They are a bit smaller than previous seasons, but they still have some size. 6'10" Zane Gall was their top recruit prospect, their top guy that they were trying to get out of the high school ranks last year. They do end up bringing him in. One of the top recruits out of the state of Arizona, top big men in the state of Arizona. I be honest, I was a little surprised that he didn't get more interest from Division I programs just as like a flyer to develop, but I suppose that's kind of what Division II is for nowadays, is to develop, and they'll steal you 2 years later. Sorry, I said that out loud. But overall, no, this is going to be a fun team. Their offense will be a lot of fun, and if they can lock things down defensively, which is typically a Jesse Nakanishi staple, regardless of the team, whether it's at HPU or you go back to his Kamehameha days, I'm excited about this team. They'll be a fun unit to cover throughout the entire year. Josh West might win Pac West Player of the Year, by the way. Like, he really might win Pac West Player of the Year. He's that good.
So we'll definitely keep you guys updated with HPU men's and women's basketball alongside with UH Manoa and, of course, Chaminade as well. So we'll start to put together our broadcast schedule for that as well. And you can go to hawaiisportsradio.com and click on the HPU Sharks tab once we have that up. But just a real quick check-in before we go to break. This is getting down to the wire here in this AL wildcard game between the Tigers and Guardians. The Tigers are still leading the Guardians 2-1, but we are now at the bottom of the ninth. So we'll see what could happen in the Cubs-Padres game. That game just getting underway. Bottom of the second. Cubs are the home team. The Padres are up 1-0, and guys, it's already over. It's already over for the Cubs. It's over. The series is done. We're going to get swept.
It has never been more
I'm
over.
going to take off my hat already because it's just going to be over. No, but yeah, so still, this will be interesting to see how this Tigers-Guardians game ends up. But we're going to take a break. We'll be back to talk some high school sports on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio.
Back to more Wake Up in the Den with Kuʻulei Agbayani on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to all of you, the beautifulest of all the beautiful people. It's Wake Up in the Den. I'm Kuʻulei Agbayani alongside Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, hawaiisportsradio.com, and streaming live on our YouTube channel, a special YouTube live stream on this Tuesday. And you guys, We went to commercial break, and MLB playoffs are doing MLB playoff things. As we mentioned before going to break, for those of you that aren't watching the game and maybe driving around, the Tigers have a 2-1 lead over the Guardians in the bottom of the ninth. And then Jose Ramirez, the first batter up for the Guardians in this inning, reaches third off of a throwing error by former Cub Javi Baez. So you got a runner and clearly in scoring position. Right before this last pitch, it was no outs, but now there is 1 out. So again, runner on third for the Guardians. So let's see if they can bring in Jose Ramirez and tie it up, and then either go to extras or potentially get that walk-off for Cleveland. And, of course, as to be expected, the stadium was going crazy. We mentioned this earlier, that the Guardians are kind of like the unofficial Hawaiʻi team if you don't have a team to cheer for, because they have Joey Cantillo out of Kailua. That's a pitcher on there, and also former UH pitcher Cade Smith. And they also have Kai Carrera, a Hilo native, that is on the Guardians coaching staff. So if you guys want to cheer for any team in the fight for our Hawaiʻi people, pay attention to the Guardians, because that is, out of all the teams, that is the team that has the most Hawaiʻi ties representation, I guess you can put it, for this MLB playoffs. And then we mentioned it earlier, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is on the Toronto Blue Jays, who we'll see if it'll be the Yankees Blue Jays in this, so close. Jose Ramirez. Oh. Damn. Get out.
That's unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
Tapper back to the mound.
All
and
right.
I understand those, but
Yeah.
that probably. I just got a text from my Guards fan friend that says, well, this one stings. So I figured something bad had just happened. They still got 1 more out. The winning run is at the plate, but not great. Not what you want if you're a Cleveland Guardians fan.
Yeah. It's okay. You guys still got a couple more games. Best of 3 series.
Best of 3 series. Got to
not
win
like
two.
Not like the Cubs series is already over, as the Cubs are
Yeah,
still
the
trailing
Cubs-
the Padres in the top of the third.
Cubs
so
are already
1-0.
in Cancun, unfortunately, it seems.
All right, just real quick, want to make sure we at least mention it and do our Fun Factory VIP shout-outs on our YouTube channel. We'll start with high school football. Last week, again, Roosevelt coming out with that win over Pro City. If you missed that game and you want to listen to some play-by-play, we do have that available for you guys to listen on demand wherever you get your podcasts, or you can just go to hawaiisportsradio.com and click on the OIA Sports tab as well, and to see the recap and some photos. But last week, again, our VIP, Fun Factory VIP of the game for that matchup between Roosevelt and Pro City went to Dayton Tilton, the DB for Roosevelt. So our Michael Iscaro had a chance to catch up with him following that game, and here's what he had to say.
All right, we're at Dayton Tilton, defensive back and Mr. All-Around pretty much for Roosevelt. You guys have a homecoming game against Pro City. Pro City came out here and they kind of hit you guys in the mouth right away. What happened at the beginning, and then how did you guys kind of bounce back?
We started slow. Our coach came together, put us together. We had to talk about it, flush the mistakes, flush all that, and move to the next play.
And then defensively, Pro City, they didn't score a touchdown after that first drive.
Yes, sir.
What was the adjustments that you guys made?
We just had to bring our playmakers down in the box and bring our best man, DBs out, ball out, lock in.
Talk about your performance, because you had multiple pass breakups, probably had 7 or 8 tackles and a couple of tackles for loss. I mean, even on that last drive, like, you were blitzing from the safety spot. So what was your mindset tonight?
My mindset was just to go out here with my boys and just ball out. The team win, not all about me, all the boys back there. We all did it together. Offense too, balled out.
Now, I think before halftime they put you on offense, right?
Yes.
And then you got stopped on that play. So, but you come right off the bat after halftime with that big return, like to almost like past midfield. How much did you want to redeem yourself after that loss on the first half?
I really wanted to get in touchdown, but can't be selfish. Just gotta move to the next play, and get the best position we can.
game, number 1, number 4, but you guys kind of rallied together. How much did this homecoming crowd kind of help you guys?
The energy, just the crowd and everybody here just helping us way more.
You guys are undefeated now in the OIA. I know you guys won the past 2 championships, but what would it mean to be undefeated all throughout the OIA season?
That would mean everything. I mean, all we're looking for is just going to the state championship, and that's all we want. We want to go to the top.
One more question. Just talk about the defense today, because you guys were balling out. I mean, not only you, but everybody else kind of shut them out.
Our defense was. We started off slow. We've been having slow starts, but we just gotta come back and go to the next play. We just gotta come together. We had to move the D line. We had to move people around, put the linebacker on the line, and ball out.
And ball out. Like, simple as that. You just gotta ball out. There you go. That was a Roosevelt defensive back, Dayton Tilton, following that nice win for the Rough Riders over the Pearl City Chargers to remain undefeated and at the top of the OIA Division II. Now, they are undefeated alongside Kalaheo, also at 4-0, and they have a matchup this week Friday against each other. So this is this week's Friday's game, not going to be on radio. Will be on air on Saturday, bringing you McKinley and Waialua, but this is a big game for both those squads. But Paul, you were on the call last week Friday for this Roosevelt Pro City game, so just tell us a little bit about some of your takeaways from that game, and is Roosevelt looking to continue to be a legit contender that they have been for the last few years?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it feels like there's no reason to believe that you should bet against Roosevelt. I mean, Kalaheo has been phenomenal so far this season as well. Obviously, they're sitting at 4-0 after the first 4 games. This next weekend is going to be massive for both of these teams. Kalaheo trying to prove that they are ready to take over in D2. And, I mean, Roosevelt, this is the class of the OIA D2 and really just Division II football in the state year over year. In this game, Roosevelt, I mean, they just showed off in a lot of different ways. I thought their defense was outstanding after a slow start. Dayton Tilton was great, and they were honestly a couple of plays from breaking this game wide open as well. Pearl City is a good squad, but Roosevelt at this point, I don't really see a world where they are beaten unless it's Kalaheo.
Yeah, and taking a look at the high school football picture right now, again, as we mentioned, Roosevelt, Kalaheo at the top of the OIA Division II, Minilani at the top, and with Kahuku, no surprise, at the top of the OIA Open Division, and OIA D1, Waipahu, they seem like the top team to beat in Division I, and we can expect those teams to continue some of their dominance. Paul, maybe some of the potential matchups coming up between either in the OIA Open Division or Division I that we have to look out for.
Well, I'm looking at that Kailua game. Kailua is a game behind the Marauders, where they play again, and they host Waipahu, on October 18th to close out the regular season. Ooh. There's a chance that one comes back to be like for the top spot. Overall, Waipahu just looks like the favorite overall, and they should be because, I mean, they're just good.
They're so good.
Like, they're just good, and we've seen it from the start. They do an exceptional job against Waianae squad, who has also been world beaters thus far this season, and there's a lot of talent in the OIA Division I. I would imagine that one is going to be a little bit more competitive than all of the other divisions. I think that's the one that I look at and is most wide open in my mind. Aiea kind of has a brutal schedule coming up. They're a game out of the top spot, but they still have to play at Waianae versus Waipahu, and then they close the season at Nanakuli, who Nanakuli 0-4 in league play, but we've seen them and we've heard them, had them on our airwaves. They've got enough talent where you still have to show up and win football games. So Aiea, if Aiea can beat Waianae at Waianae this next upcoming week, then they all of a sudden get my eye once again. They're coming off a brutal loss against Kailua, so the excitement around Na'ali'i have kind of washed off just a little bit.
And keep in mind, though, I want to go back to last week as well, because you can go to HawaiiSportsRadio.com and see the full game recap and some photos as well. Michael Esquero had a chance to chat with some of the Waipahu kids, and we have photos from Andrew Lee and CJ Karang. Waipahu beating Waianae, getting a nice win at Waianae last week, 29-13, hence adding to the fact that the Marauders are just looking very, very strong down the stretch. Looking at the ILH season is kind of weird because there's like so little bit teams. Like I was just asked this morning on, is the football season winding down? I'm like, no, we're like in the middle of it. Like OI playoffs are the end of October/November because I guess Iolani had their senior night already. But it's just ILH always, they like do the round robin and all of that stuff going on. But yeah, we'll see. And St. Louis still got to make up those games against, like they have the makeup game against Punahou, and who knows what's going on there. If you look at our friends on the neighbor island, however, and I'll have you talk about this really quick because I know we're way up against the clock, but on the big island, you have Kona Waina sitting there at undefeated at 4-0, followed by Kea'au at 3-1 in Division 1. In Division 2 of the BIF, Kohala at 3-1 at the top of the standings, and Honoka'a at 3-2. Going over on Maui, again, they kind of play this round robin as well. Lahaina Luna up there at 2-2, followed by Baldwin at 2-3 in Division 1 in D2, which there's only a couple of teams, but Kamehameha Schools Maui is undefeated. Kekalike is 3-2, and on Kauai, Kapa'a remains undefeated, and Waimea sitting at 2-1. And of course, Maui 8-man football, which is pretty cool. It's kind of anyone's game there, but Seabury Hall is sitting at 4-1 right now for the 8-man football. But I know, Paul, you got a chance to call like the Big Island game, so maybe a little love for our friends over there.
Yeah, it's been fun calling these Big Island games. Another shout out to the H&N crew and everyone down here, our neighbors in this same building. I really much so appreciate the opportunity. Kona Waina is just head and shoulders above everybody else. Alani, he's great. They have multiple quarterbacks that are better than anybody else. Hilo's starting to put it together, though, enough where if anybody is going to challenge them, and it's funny to say this about the team who sits in fourth place currently, it does feel like the Vikings still feels like Boss Aguiar is starting to figure things out for them. And I don't know. Keep an eye on Hilo, and if they're able to figure some things out, they're the only ones who I see really challenging Kona Waina.
All right. Well, again, football season for high school and, of course, other levels of football. We're rocking and rolling with it. Just real quick before we go to break, sorry for our Guardians fans out there. They were not able to come back in the bottom of the ninth. So the Tigers take game one of that AL wildcard game 2-1 over the Guardians. And the bottom of the third right now for the Padres-Cubs game. Padres still holding on to that 1-0 lead.
A lot of baseball left.
It's over.
A lot of baseball left.
It's over. I don't care if on paper there's 6 innings left. It's over. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Here's Dr. Jamie Fukui with a health tip from Hawaii Pacific Health.
When it comes to breast cancer, early detection could save your life. That's why it's recommended all women get a mammogram every year, starting at age 40, or younger if there's a history of breast cancer in your family. Schedule your mammogram today at one of our medical centers or clinics. Women who get a mammogram in October will receive a special gift while supplies last.
Online scheduling is easy at hawaiipacifichealth.org/mammogram.
Who doesn't love a good pizza? Visit Slice of Waikiki, your favorite pizza by the slice shop. For over 13 years, they've been serving up huge, freshly made slices and delicious appetizers for locals and visitors alike. Drop by their new location at 333 Seaside Avenue to instantly satisfy your pizza cravings by the slice or build your own whole pie masterpiece. Visit sliceofwaikiki.com for pickup, delivery, and catering options. Slice of Waikiki, freshly made pizza with aloha.
Experience one of Central Oahu's biggest community events, Pearl at Kalawau's monthly night market. With over 80 vendors, you'll find delicious food, retail treasures, desserts, and specialty drinks, all in one place. Bring the whole family for a night of culture, live entertainment, and community. Each month features a new theme and opportunities to support local businesses and nonprofits. Golf, dining, and community all come together at Pearl at Kalawau.
DSC Hawaii, a proud supporter of OIA sports on the Hawaii Sports Radio Network.
Locally owned and operated Union Electrical Contracting Company. Established.
Wake up in the den with Kuʻulei Agbayani on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network, 95.1 FM and AM 760.
Welcome back to Wake Up in the Den. Kuʻulei Agbayani and Paul Brecht on the Hawaiʻi Sports Radio Network and streaming live on our YouTube channel. Thank you guys for hanging out with us this morning. All right, let me see. We only got a few minutes left, just 3 more minutes left. And again, before I can really pay attention to the Cubs-Padres game that's going on right now. Something I didn't get to share on YouTube yesterday, but I had it prepared to go. So I want to share with that with you guys really quick. Is obviously we were talking about women's volleyball, and we will see what happens. And I saw it was tweeted out that Shalay Reed seems to be okay. She's making the trip for this away game coming up in the Big West. But last week Friday, though, I want to give a shout out to Milan Zarkovic, who I got to see, and I had my picture here prepared, my selfie, and he took a picture with a group of us, and he's pictured here. This is a photo taken by Michael Esquero Milan with Ileu Choi, and then I got my selfie with Milan before he has to head out. I think he's said he leaves sometime this week to go to LA. So wanted to make sure I gave a shout out to Milan here.
I'm so sad.
Face.
I
know.
I wish I had more to add other than that. I really am just sad about it. He is really, really fun, really, really kind, always awesome to chat with. His passion for the sport rocks. Definitely a loss for the UH program. It's not a death knell. We said this last week. It's not something that should kill the program, but it certainly makes you feel like, all right, it's a step back, and you fill the void in some way, shape, or form. And it's just sad for all of us. I mean, we all enjoyed having him around. He always was a good yin to Charlie's serious yang, you know?
For sure. But before we head out of here, a couple more minutes, we saw some new people in our chat, one being who you said will be a part of our all-name team with Royal here. But messaging in, I am on vacation from the UK and saw this ad at my hotel to listen. I don't know where we have ads out, but that's cool. We appreciate you for coming in.
I'm glad
that's really cool. I'm curious now. What hotel is this? Because I'm like, do we have an ad out there that we don't know about? But that's pretty cool.
Appreciate you listening in. Anyway,
of course.
Because sometimes people look at ads and they go, okay,
yeah,
and then they just move on. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you'll join us in the future. And yeah, we don't really have call capabilities right now. But we do have text and chat lines. So you ever want to get in on the conversation like you have today, or anybody wants to do so, get in on the conversation, 808-888-KGU1. That's 808-888-5481. Or just message in on the chat. We try and chat with you guys as much as possible.
Yeah, and I hope you are having a great vacation. Welcome to Hawaii, if it is in Hawaii, or if you're just in the other states here in the U.S., but hope you enjoy your vacation, and thank you for hanging out with us again. I hope when you go back to the UK, I know some of the content that you're allowed to access, being that I was just in Europe actually over the summer.
Quick flex.
You can only access certain things and not get certain things that are from the US. So it's I hope maybe you can still hang out with us when you go back. That would be really cool, because we've mentioned this before, that we have people in our friends in Australia and New Zealand and around the country,
literally everywhere,
all over across the continent. So that's pretty cool. So we hope you still hang out with us, but we got to wrap things up and we got to go. So thank you guys for joining us on this special Tuesday live stream. Normally it's every single Monday, and then you can listen on demand wherever you get your podcasts or at hawaiisportsradio.com. But we got to go. For Paul Brecht, I'm Ku'ulei Agbayani. Mahalo for listening and watching. Bye.